Good afternoon, third graders. Today we're going to be working on Module 1, Lesson 13 for math. We're going to watch a few snippets of this video, but I highly suggest you watching the whole video to really get the full lesson for today.
Take a chance or take a second at the end to just kind of compare an array and a tape diagram. So let's jump in and get started with a problem. So the first problem that we have is it says Rosie puts 2 lemon slices in each cup of iced tea. She uses a total of 8 slices. How many cups of iced tea does Rosie make?
So we are currently working on the basics of division. Division is when you have a total amount of something and you're dividing it up equally into various groups. So in this situation, she has 8 total slices of lemon and she's putting 2 in each cup. What we don't know is how many cups she has. So we are trying to figure out the best way to split these 8 slices of lemon up amongst each cup, putting 2 in each cup. How many cups will we use is what we're trying to figure out.
So I want you to take out your dry erase board and I want you to draw an array, whatever you think matches that problem. Or if you want to draw just a picture, however you want to do to solve that problem, to be able to come up and tell me how many cups of iced tea does Rosie make. So go ahead and pause the video, draw your array or your picture, and come up with what you think is the answer for the number of cups of iced tea that Rosie makes. Go ahead.
Okay, so you will need your whiteboards and markers for this, and you're going to draw an array. You could put your groups into rows or you could put your groups into columns. It doesn't matter to me as long as you know which one is going to be your groups. Is it going to be your columns that are going up and down, or is it going to be your rows that are going side to side?
And try that now. Okay, so I want to show you what I came up with. I just happened to draw this picture, okay? So when I drew this picture, I'm looking and thinking, okay, so here's my 8 lemons.
Okay, so in this picture, she is saying that her rows are a group. So each row, which is going side to side, she put 2 lemon slices into each row.
That's 1 cup. Then I did another one. That's 2 cups, right? And I'm just going through and breaking apart all of my 8 lemons to put them in groups of 2 for because each cup had 2 lemon slices. So if I look at this, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 cups. So I think Rosie's going to need 4 cups of iced tea. I look at this, I wanted to come up with maybe a multiplication equation to match this. So if I use this to match my array that I have over here, I have 2 lemons in each one. That's this number 2 for that factor. And then the first factor is going to tell me how many groups that I have. Okay, so I know that there are 4.
So remember, multiplication means blank groups of how many equals the total amount. So our first factor in a multiplication sentence is usually the amount of groups we have. The second factor, and when I say factor, I mean your numbers in your multiplication. So these numbers that are on either side of your multiplication sign, we call those factors. So the first number is usually how many groups of something you have. The second factor is how many are in each group. Now, this can be helpful to remember for when you are trying to draw pictures, tape diagrams, arrays, because then you know, okay, my first number is blank. That's how many groups I need. My second number is how many are in each group. And in this situation, we actually didn't know the first number first. We just knew the total. So we knew that we had to take 8 total and put 2 in each group to figure out how many groups we needed.
I'll fill that in. 4. Now I want to come up with a division sentence that might help me solve this problem. So I had 8.
So just like addition and subtraction can go together and they can be fact families, the same is true for multiplication. So multiplication sentences, your factors can go on either side of the multiplication sign. You can flip-flop them, and it doesn't change your answer. Division, your division problems are going to go right along with your multiplication. So for this example, 4 times 2 equals 8. 2 times 4 also equals 8. 8 divided by 2 equals 4. And 8 divided by 4 equals 2. That would be our fact family.
I divided into groups with 2 in each one, and then I came up with 4 as my answer. Okay, so that's just kind of a quick problem to get our minds thinking. Now we're going to take that same problem and we're going to use it with an array and tape diagrams. So for this example, the problem is staying the same, and we're trying to find out with our division sentence that we're going to write, the quotient is going to represent the number of groups. Now remember, the quotient is just the answer that we're coming up with, okay? So when I look at this problem, let me read it one more time, even though we just did it. It says, Rosie puts 2 lemon slices in each cup of iced tea. She uses a total of 8 slices. How many cups of iced tea does Rosie have? So for this example, the way that I turned this array is I did it as 2 by 4 array. So 2 rows with 4 in each one. Now for this one, I want to think about the columns are showing the number of lemon slices in 1 cup. And the reason why I switched when I did it this way is because to me it kind of makes a little bit more sense. Because like I think of a cup. So here's my cup. My cup goes up and down, right? I don't know about you guys, but I don't have too many cups that go side to side. I know if I were to take my cup right now and turn it side to side, everything's going to spill right out. So for me, it made more sense when I was drawing and thinking about this problem to maybe draw it so my columns are representing.
So if the columns go up and down, she's saying that each column, which is going up and down, equals 1 group. So that's 2 lemon slices per cup. So all you have to do is count your columns. So 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns. That means 4 cups.
The number of lemon slices for this one. Okay. So what do we not know in this problem? What's the unknown piece of information? We know that there was 8 slices, that she used a total of 8 slices, and we know that 2 lemon slices go in 1 cup. So what's the unknown piece of information? Yeah, it's the number of cups. We don't know how many cups there are. Okay. So if we look at this array, how do you think this array might help us solve 8 divided by 2 equals blank? What do you guys think? To me, I kind of think about how we can maybe look at it as we can count the number of columns to find out how many cups there are. Okay, so let's kind of jump in and do a little bit more with that. So what's the total, if I look at this picture over here, what's the total number of lemon slices? Whoops. If I take this guy. Yeah, okay, there's 8 lemon slices, okay?
So this is just like we did yesterday, where we put our total of a tape diagram at the bottom.
The question asks how many cups of iced tea Rosie makes. Do the cups represent the number of groups or the number of lemon slices in each group? Yeah, it's the number of groups, or in this example, it's the number of cups, okay? So for under this, I want to look at the number of cups. I'm not sure how many that's going to be. Okay, so I want to know the number of cups. We're going to stick this down here because we're still waiting to find that out. Okay, now watch how I show the number of slices in 1 cup. I'm going to take this little bracket here and I'm going to put it right here. Okay.
So we also did this yesterday with the tape diagram where we figured out how many belonged in each group. So in this scenario, the number of groups equals the number of cups. We know for sure each cup is getting 2 slices of lemon.
because this is representing 2 slices is what I have here, okay? There's 2 slices. Then the next thing that I want to do is I want to take my marker and I want to divide this up, because to me, I still am seeing this just this 8. So I'm going to divide this up. There's 2 in this cup. There's 2 in this cup. And then there's another 2 between these ones. So for me, now that I drew those lines, this is a lot more helpful for me to be able to kind of see what the cups look like. Okay, so if I wanted to think about here, as in, that's 1 cup now on its own. Okay, and then so on. And here's a second cup. Okay, and then here's your third, and then here's your 4th cup. Okay, so now that we look at this tape diagram, that's kind of what we're doing with this. We're taking this array and we're turning it into a tape diagram. A tape diagram, think about it, is just a piece of tape, right? You get a long rectangle when you stretch out your piece of tape. And then we're just going to break that apart. And then you have to be able to label your tape diagram to be able to understand what on earth is this thing telling us. So labeling is just doing the things like we did here. 2 lemon slices, 8 total lemon slices. And now we're trying to figure out how many cups there are. Okay, so that's just the way to label your tape diagram. But kind of think about how it looks like this guy right here. Looks kind of, looks kind of like a piece of tape, right? And we're just kind of cutting it into pieces as we're doing our tape diagram. Okay. All right. So by adding those lines, that helps us to label our array, like I said, as the tape diagram. And 1 column, remember up and down, shows 1 unit. So in this example, 1 unit represents 1 cup that has 2 slices of lemons in each one. Okay, so I labeled the tape diagram with the information that I knew and information that I didn't know to be able to help figure out this problem a little bit easier. Okay, so if we think about this problem, we have how many cups? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have a
Okay, I want you guys to take a close look at this tape diagram. This is exactly what I am looking for in your exit tickets and problem sets. I'm looking for it to be very detailed, neat, organized, and labeled. The more labeled it is, the more I know that you understand exactly what we are working on. So I know you've got it when you can label the amount of something in a group, the amount of groups you have, and the total amount that there is all together. So that is what I am looking for in order for you guys to show that you fully understand relating an array to a tape diagram and creating and solving a division problem.
total of 4 cups that Rosie would need to be able to use all of her lemons. Okay, let's take a look.
So I'm gonna stop this right here. I do encourage you to watch the rest of that video, but what I'm gonna have you guys do now is watch me as I explain a few of the problem set problems and your exit ticket for today. Okay, so we are going to be on page 79 in our Field of Flowers math book. So I'll either say blue math book or Field of Flowers. There is a blue spine right here that you'll see. And then the front cover has your Field of Flowers. This is always the book that we're going to use to do practice problems and for you to complete your exit ticket. Remember, those exit tickets, I'm looking for that to be your work, not your learning coach's work. I want that to be your work because I need to know if you're fully understanding the lesson. And it's okay if you get something wrong. Getting something wrong just shows me what I need to work with you on so that you can learn those skills and be successful. Okay, so if we're having someone else do work for us, that's not going to help me know what you know. So page 79, we're going to start off. This part's pretty easy. This is kind of just a review and to kind of show you fact family. So I'm only going to do like one of these to show you, but it says fill in the blanks to make true number sentences. So 1 times 3 equals 3. And I know that 3 divided by 3 equals 1 because it's the reverse, just like a fact family. All right. Another example is 2 times 3 is 6. That means 6 divided by 3 would be 2. So those are just review. Go ahead and do those. And then we're going to come down here at the bottom. It says, Mr. Lawton picks tomatoes from his garden. He divides the tomatoes into bags of 3. So we do know how many groups he's going to have because his bags are going to be his groups. So bags of 3. It says circle to show how many bags. So that's what we don't know, is we don't know how many bags he's going to make. Then skip count to show the total number of tomatoes. So I'm going to just count. I just like to know where I'm starting with first. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I can see that he has 12 total tomatoes that he's splitting into bags of 3. So he's going to create a bag and put 3 tomatoes in each bag. So I'm going to start off by circling those 3 tomatoes that will go in each bag. So this will be 3 that go in a bag. This will be 3 that go in a bag. This is 3 that go in a bag. And this is 3 that go in a bag. So looking at my picture, I can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. So now I'm going to draw and label a tape diagram to show this problem. Remember, tape diagram is like a long rectangular piece of tape. And we know that all together there were 12 tomatoes. We also know that there were 3 in each group and that we had 4 groups. So I'm going to go ahead and split this into 4 groups. And then I'm going to draw 3 circles in each group. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now right here, I'm going to label that each group has 3 tomatoes. And I'm going to count my groups down here. I'm going to say this is group number 1, group number 2, group number 3, and group number 4. So now that I have this picture up here and this tape diagram here, that's going to help me better understand how to answer these questions. So blank divided by 3 equals blank. So remember, whenever we're doing division, our first number is always going to be that whole number altogether. So there were 12 tomatoes altogether. We divided them into 3s, which gave us 4 groups. So Mr. Lawton packs 4 bags of tomatoes. And now I want to skip count these. So 3, 6, 9, 12. Go ahead and give that a try. All right, I'm going to do one problem on the back side, and then you can do this with me, and then we'll go on to the exit ticket and talk about that. I'm going to do number 4. Number 4 says 30 third graders go on a field trip. They are equally divided into 3 vans. How many students are in each van? So for this problem, I always like it with word problems to go back through a second time and underline those important parts. The first time is just to read it, kind of let my brain process it, figure out what's going on, what it's asking me to do, and then go back through and underline important information. So 30 third graders feels important because that's the total amount of students. Equally divided into 3 vans is important because that's telling me how many groups they're in. And then I always like to circle the question. So how many students are in each van? That's going to tell me how many are in each group. So I'm going to draw an array for this. And I'm going to do it as rows because I'm thinking of a bus being each row. So I'm going to do the fair share strategy, which means I'm going to put a student in one bus, a student in another bus, and a student in another bus until I get to 30. So I'm going to go bus 1, bus 2, bus 3. That's 3 students. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So I reached 30 students. Now remember, this was bus 1, so that's one group. This was bus 2, that's group 2. And this is bus 3. So that means each group is going side to side like this. Okay, so this isn't a picture to kind of help me better understand what's going on. Now I'm going to do a tape diagram, but I want to see how many students ended up on each bus because that's what we were trying to figure out. And I did that fair share strategy to make it equal and fair for how many students were on each bus. And I just did put a student in this bus, put a student in this bus, put a student in this bus until I reached 30 students. So each bus has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 students. 10 students, 10 students, 10 students. 10 plus 10 plus 10 equals 30. Now I'm going to draw a tape diagram. Now with this tape diagram, it would be kind of a lot to draw 10 circles into 3 groups. Remember, I have 3 buses, so that's 3 groups. I could draw 10 circles. That would be one strategy. Another strategy would just to be writing. I could write the number. I could say 10, 10, 10. If you really want to draw little circles, you can. My biggest thing is, especially with us being virtual and you guys taking pictures of your work, you would need to really make your math super organized and neat and easy to read so that when it gets turned in, I can clearly see your picture and understand it. So that might look something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So maybe making a 10 frame in each square or rectangle would be a great way to organize your work. Okay, down here, I'm going to put the total amount. So there was 30 students. Remember, I really want this labeled well so I know that you know what's going on here. And each group has 10. And there are 1, 2, 3 buses or 3 groups of students. So our answer to the question, remember we go back to what we circled, how many students are in each van? We know that there are 10 students in each van. Okay, we're going to go on now to the exit ticket. So again, I'm looking to see you underlining the important parts. This one is actually telling us to only draw and label a tape diagram, so you don't necessarily have to draw an array. However, if drawing an array does help you, then I encourage you to do that, but don't forget to draw and label the tape diagram. Number 1 says, Andrea uses 21 apple slices to decorate pies. She puts 3 slices on each pie. How many pies does Andrea make? So she has 21 total apple slices. She's only putting 3 apple slices on each pie. The question is, how many pies is she making to split all 21 of those up? And then down here we have, there are 24 soccer players on the field. They form 3 equal teams. How many players are on each team? So we know our total is 24 soccer players. They are split into 3 equal teams. We are trying to find out how many players that puts on each team. Again, if you need to draw an array, feel free to do so, but I also want to see that tape diagram labeled nicely. And then you're going to take a picture of page 81 and upload it to today's Canvas page. And that is all you have for math today, except for also doing one Zern lesson.